What's up, everybody? Evan, the blind strength coach from K Enable Fitness. Today we are talking about beat ball or beat baseball and the strength conditioning needs in order to make sure that we are good and physically prepared to withstand the rigors of this sport. So, beat baseball is a super cool sport. I'm actually the strength conditioning coach officially for one of the teams, and it has helped expose me to the high speed and high durability needed sport. So when we are thinking about regular baseball, there's a lot of different moving parts, a lot of sitting around and then having to rev back up in order to be ready for action. It's going to be the same thing with beat ball. There needs to be a lot of ability to move really well in multiple different directions, have high power and high durability, and then also some pretty good muscle endurance, because we're going to have to stand in the field playing defense for a while, we're going to have to sit for a while before we're back up to bat, different things like that. So making sure that we are having our bodies good and prepared to be able to take on the demands of this sport are going to help you be able to enjoy it and succeed in it a lot more. So let's get straight into my main talking points. We're going to have multi-directional speed. This is incredibly important because beat ball is an incredibly anaerobic activity. There's not any real big semblance of moving slow or having to have long standing endurance while moving. Instead, it's move really fast for short bursts, and you have to be able to do that in multiple different directions. When we're thinking about batting, we're going to have to be able to have the power to be able to bat, but then also run to first or third base really quickly. So we're going to have to rotate off of our hips for the hit, make contact, and then rotate one direction or the other, and then turn that straight into a sprint. So making sure that we're able to move in our hips in those directions is really going to help for offense. And then for defense, obviously we have to make sure that we're able to rotate really well in order to account for where the ball is called, where it's going, and then being able to dive and move appropriately for that. So a lot more lateral movement, and then also being able to pivot off of those hips and be able to really take off and move a direction intelligently, while still being able to listen for where the ball is as well. So the faster we're able to move laterally, rotate, and then really get a move on to track the ball, the better. What's next in our order of importance here is power. So we obviously need speed in order to play good defense and then sprint to the base really well on offense. But the better power that we have, the more capable we're going to be for those fast bursts on defense in order to start tracking the ball really quickly and hearing a call, especially if there's like a late call from spotters, then being able to account for that by having more power to really get moving in the appropriate direction. And then power is obviously important for hitting as well. It's not necessarily likely that we're going to turn from, someone hitting it really, really close, like 50 feet to blasting home runs, but that power, being able to really rotate the hips, rotate the core, have some really strong forearms to be able to make great contact, and then be able to transfer that into really good power output for the quick sprint, about 5 seconds or so. That's where you're really going to be able to thrive. And if you're able to have repeatable power, that's all the more important. If we think about doing something like conjugate method speed day, where we're doing 10 sets of 2 speed squats, that is going to apply really, really well. I've already had some success with having guys do that. So if you're able to do that every minute on the minute, even then, if you take some really hard swings and you're putting all your power into it, you're still able to refresh that system and still have some really enduring power, even if you're, let's say, 5 swings deep into an at-bat. So it's going to be really important for us when it comes to that hitting power and really blasting balls past the defense and giving ourselves an even better opportunity to put the ball in the air, or have it moving really fast on the ground and then being able to get to the base appropriately. And then last is durability. Durability is incredibly important, especially if we have some hard fields that we're having to dive on that can really take a big toll on the body. I know at a tournament recently, the guys were getting really beat up on day 2 because they were so beat up from day 1. It kind of leaves this apprehension, and then you can also limit your ability to play really good defense because you're kind of holding back. There's some your body putting on the governor. Then it doesn't really want to dive. You're kind of being inhibited. So mentality-wise, physicality-wise, we need to make sure that we are good and durable as well. So adding some good muscle through our strength conditioning programs are going to be incredibly important to make sure that you're able to withstand some of the hits. Again, think about more combative sports like football, rugby, even fighting, wrestling, things like that. Muscle isn't just for performance, it's also bulletproofing. It's also putting on some body armor in order to make sure that you are able to withstand the hits and recover from them easier, because then you're going to be able to perform better in game 4 than you would have if you weren't built for taking those hits. So durability, incredibly important as well. I clearly have a lot to say on this topic, and I love working with different blind sports teams, especially beep ball, because it is such an interesting sport from a strength conditioning perspective, especially for blind individuals who are the ones playing the sport, because there are some very different demands than what we have in our everyday lives as the blind community. So definitely ask some questions if you need them. I also provide one-on-one training or entire team training. You can reach out at kanenablefitness@gmail.com in order to ask about that stuff. And also, if you've been missing the rest of the series about strength conditioning needs for general blind athletics or more specific sports, go ahead and check out the rest of the playlist to catch up on all of that.